Hello everybody, in this video I am going to discuss an elementary school classroom in a slum by Stephen Spender. So as the title suggests, an elementary school classroom in a slum. That means the poet is trying to tell about the condition of elementary schools or primary schools in slum areas. So slums, where poor people live. So we can imagine what can be the condition in the primary schools in slum areas where poor people live. We have heard and read about such things and situations that no teachers, no students, so the condition is really quite miserable and quite poor. So here, through this, the poet is trying to tell us about class inequalities and social injustice prevalent in our society. So in this video I am going to discuss the first stanza or first part of your poem. So let's see how it is, how that idea has been conveyed. The whole poem has been divided in 4 stanzas, and in the first 3 stanzas the poet is developing the thought, the poet is developing the idea, he is presenting the problem, and the last stanza, in the 4th one, the poet is giving us the solution of the problem presented in the first 3 stanzas, that what is the way out, that how can the problem be solved. So let's see how does the poet convey that. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces. So in the very first line we find a figure of speech, that is far, far, which means the poet has used repetition here. Repetition which involves alliteration as well. Alliteration, you know what? The repetition of consonant sounds in the consecutive words. But I said here it is repetition, because when repetition is there we don't have to mention alliteration. With repetition, alliteration will always be there, but it's not necessary that if alliteration is there, repetition should also be there. That's why we'll say the poet has used repetition here in the first line. Now I must say one thing more, that the whole poem has sustained metaphor. That means the poet has tried to convey his ideas and to express his feelings through different images, different in a metaphoric way. So in the first stanza the poet has used different images, and what those images are: the hair turned round, they're paler; the tall girl with her weighed down head; paper seeming boy with red's eyes; and stunted unlucky air of twisted bones; and the last image, one unknotted, sweet and young. So through all these the poet is trying to emphasize, or the poet is trying to make clear that what kind of problems they face or what are their sufferings in their lives. So all that has been presented here in this poem. So far, far from gusty waves. Now here this gusty waves have also a certain meaning. Gusty waves means the fresh atmospheric air. So we can interpret this in 2 ways. One, that the slum dwellers, the slum children, are away from the fresh atmospheric air which the city people enjoy or which the other enjoy. Moreover, they are even away from the amenities and facilities which the city people enjoy. Those pleasures are not there in these children's lives. They are deprived of all such joys. That's why far, far from gusty waves. It means, as I said, they are away from all such things which the other people enjoy, though slums are generally on the periphery of the city, on the outskirts of the city. Even though that they are on the periphery, they are deprived of all such amenities and facilities. These children's faces like rootless weeds. Now the poet is comparing the children with rootless weeds. Like rootless weeds. So here the poet has used simile. And simile, you know well, when we compare two unlike things to dissimilar things using like or as, that is called simile. So the poet is comparing the children with rootless weeds, and weeds, you know, are unwanted plants. So like weeds, as weeds are unwanted plants, these children are also unwanted by the society. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants to share anything with them. Nobody sympathizes with them. They are like outcast in this society. Rootless. You know that if a plant is rootless, it won't get nutrition enough to survive. It won't be able to sustain itself. Same way, these children, they don't get nutrition. They are malnourished and they roam about here and there. So that's why rootless weeds. The hair torn round their paler. The hair torn round their paler. Now their hair is all tangled and disheveled and tousled, okay, all scattered, their faces all pale. Now in this age, they are just the primary class students, they are just the primary school students. Now in that age, when there should be a glow on one's face, their faces are pale and the hair all disheveled and tangled. No, it's not fashion for them. Rather, it's what that they can't afford to bother about their looks and appearance. That's why the situation is like this. The tall girl with her weighed down head. The tall girl with her weighed down head. Now this image, the image of this girl, it shows that these children are burdened with problems, responsibilities, troubles. Now, in that tender age when one should be carefree, having fun, enjoying life, these children are careworn. Their shoulders are burdened. In that small age, their shoulders are burdened with problems and responsibilities. That's why weighed down head. Paper seeming boy. Paper seeming boy with wraith's eyes. Here again a different image. The poet is comparing the children with paper, that they are paper seeming. It means very thin, lean and lanky, emaciated, of course, because they don't get sufficient food. They are all starved. So that's why paper seeming. with rate's eyes. Now, just as the rates are always looking for something to nibble at, these children, as we have seen such slum dwellers and rag pickers getting out in the morning with a bag or sack on their shoulder, picking things or whatever they get, they just put into their bag. So these children are also like that, with rate's eyes, always looking for something. The stunted unlucky heir of twisted bonds, reciting the father's null disease. Reciting the father's null disease, his lesson from his desk. Stunted, thwarted, means the growth has stopped. Unlucky heir. Heir means successor, inheritor. So what do they get in inheritance? Twisted bonds. Stunted, it means because of malnourishment, and as they don't get sufficient to eat, they don't get even 2 times meal properly, so because of that their growth has stopped, and they inherit twisted bonds. That means the diseases which happen, which occur due to malnourishment, that's what their legacy is. That's what they get in inheritance from their parents, from their forefathers. So of course this has been the situation for generation. So their forefathers were also malnourished, their parents were also malnourished. So these diseases are passed on from generation to generation, and that's why the poet has used the word recite. So just as the children recite their lessons, repeat their lessons in their classes, same way these children recite what the diseases which are passed on from their parents and from their forefathers to them. So it goes on and on and on. The situation is persisting. The situation is continuing from generations. So that's why reciting the father's null disease, his lesson from his desk. Null disease means the disease of twisted bonds, in which the bonds are got twisted. That's what the poet means here. But though there are problems, they are surrounded by different problems and miseries, their life is all wretched, still there is hope. Okay. There is hope, and the poet has suggested, or the poet has conveyed that hope through the image of a boy. At the bake-off, at the bake-off, the dim class, one unknotted sweet and young, His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game. In the tree room. Other than this, so here, this last image, as I said, the poet is trying to convey hope through this image. And how? At the back of the dim class. That means the class is all dim, there is no proper facility of lighting, it's all dark. One unknotted, sweet and young. Now it shows when a child is sweet, should be noticed, but here he is unknotted. That means the authorities, the teachers, they don't bother about them. They don't care for these children. They don't bother to teach them. They don't care to teach them or to just look after them. They are not at all bothered about these children. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in the tree room. Other than this. Now, other than this, that means other than the usual problems they are surrounded by. So as the earlier images we discussed, they were all telling us about the problems and miseries there in their life. But this boy is telling us something different. Other than the usual problems, other than the troubles and tribulations and sufferings and burdens and responsibilities that they have in their life, this boy has the goods. This boy has the ability to dream of something else. Putting aside all his problems, he can engage and involve himself in the squirrel's game. He can be happy watching that squirrel's game, playing in the tree room. He can be happy. So there are some like this sweet unknotted young boy who have the guts to do something else, who can dream of something else, who can be happy putting aside all their problems. So that's what the poet is trying to convey in this first stanza. So for the next stanza, watch Part 2, Elementary School Classroom in a Slum.